We continue our coverage of the best things that happened in 2021 in Canadian MMA with our list of the 10 greatest upsets of the year. As usual, we've got honorable mentions. Julian Erosa's slick third round submission over Charles Jourdain. Nate Small's third round rear naked choke win in a back and forth war with Amear Bani. Jessica Pene's comeback after a 4-year hiatus to win a controversial decision over Loopy Godinez. Luana Carolina's short notice win over Loopy. And Yohan Lainesse first round KO win over Justin Burlinson. At number 10, we've got Austin Russell against Indroop Virk. Super Singh came as a very hyped up prospect and wrestler who had already won his pro debut against tough Mab Dawson. Virk was thought to have a big grappling advantage over Russell, and he went for the takedown as soon as the fight began. Russell was able to secure a chokehold that could only be described as a front naked choke and forced the touted prospect to tap out for the 10th biggest upset victory of 2021 in Canadian MMA. At number 9, Alexis Davis against Sabina Mazo. The Colombian fighter might be a little inconsistent since she made her UFC debut, but she is a very skilled fighter and a very opportunistic finisher. It was widely believed that a move up to 135 would be beneficial for her as she struggled with making weight and with her gas tank at the weight class below. She was heavily favored to defeat veteran Alexis Davis, who was on a 3-fight losing streak at the time, but the absolute contrary happened as Davis used her experience to outpoint the prospect on the judges' scorecard to score the 9th biggest upset win of 2021 in Canadian MMA. At number 8, it's Dylan Schellenberg against Christian Tremayne at BFL 70. Fresh off a dominant victory in a grudge match against Austin Batra, Christian Tremayne was ready to face his next challenge, one weight class up against Dylan Schellenberg. He was the heavy favorite as Schellenberg was 0-2 in his pro career compared to 3-1 for Tremayne. The Ghost came in confident but quickly got his chin tested by the game Schellenberg, who was able to take him out of his game and capitalize on the guillotine attempt in the very first round to score his first pro win and the 8th biggest upset win of 2021 in Canada. At number 7 is Caio Machado against Christian Larsen. When the confrontation between the two best heavyweights in Canada was announced for BFL 67, common knowledge was that if a first round finish was to occur, it was going to be in the favor of the larger fighter, and that if the fight went to the later rounds, then it would be in Machado's favor. The fact that Machado won may not be the most surprising thing as they were both very evenly matched going in, but the fact that the smaller fighter and a guy who could easily be a 205er knocked out the enormous and powerful heavyweight in Christian Larsen in the very first round will always be one of the most surprising things that happened in 2021. That's why we've got this as the 7th biggest upset victory of 2021 in Canada. At number 6, it's Malcolm Gordon against Francisco Figueiredo. Let's say it like it is, Malcolm Gordon had an horrible start to his UFC career. He lost his first fight at his own game when he got submitted by Amear before falling victim to a 46-second knockout at the hands of rising prospect Sumo Derji. He was therefore not the favorite heading into his UFC Vegas 31 contest against Francisco Figueiredo, who was 1-0 in his UFC career and is the brother of the former champ. What we saw in that fight was the good old Malcolm Gordon, who was able to outskill his opponent in every aspect of the game with a very proficient performance and a huge surprise for those who had never seen what he was all about before entering the UFC. This career-saving performance for Gordon ranks as the 6th best upset victory of 2021 in Canadian MMA. Let's go with the top 5, and at number 5 it's Dario Sinagoga against Craig Shintani. Dario had shown flashes of greatness in his first 3 pro fights, but he was unable to secure a finish in any of those. So when he came into his BFL 66 matchup against 9-3 and perennial top 15 Canadian lightweight Craig Shintani, he was clearly not the favorite. But after exchanging takedown attempts against the fence, Dario was able to get Shintani down, and while he was trying to use the cage to get up, Dario let his hands go and absolutely put Shintani's lights out for his first ever finish. He established himself as a top 15 lightweight in the country in only his 4th pro fight and what was the 5th biggest upset victory of 2021 in Canada. At number 4, Chad Anheliger against Muin Gafurov. It's well known Anheliger went 2-5 in his first 7 pro fights, losing by submission every time. He then went 7-0 in the next 5 years to finally secure a shot at a UFC deal on Dana White's Contender Series. When they matched him up against 13-3 grappling specialist Muin Gafurov, it sure looked like a cruel matchup for the Canadian, but Anheliger survived a rough first round and never stopped working. He ended up gassing out his opponent and out-grappling him to show how much he had improved on his weaknesses and to secure the improbable win. His efforts netted him a UFC contract and the 4th biggest upset victory of 2021 in Canadian MMA. Time for the top 3, and at number 3 it's Norma Dumont against Felicia Spencer. Coming into her fight against Norma Dumont at UFC Vegas 27, Felicia had only lost to Amanda Nunes and Chris Cyborg and pretty much dominated and finished everybody else. Nothing less was expected of her when she fought smallish featherweight Norma Dumont, but the Brazilian turned out to be more that she could handle. She was able to shut down Spencer's grappling and landed the better strikes on her feet to secure the 3rd biggest upset win of 2021 in Canadian MMA. At number 2, it's Maheshate against Achilles Estremadura on the Contender Series. Numbers-wise, this upset was as significant as the Payne and Nunes fight, as Achilles closed in as a 9-1 favorite over the inexperienced Chinese fighter in what was the final fight of the season of the Contender Series. It sure looked like the odds were right in the first round, as Achilles nearly finished his opponent several times, but Maheshate was able to tough it through and showed to have the better gas tank, as he was able to win round 2 and really put a hurting on Achilles in round 3 to give him his first ever loss as a pro and to score the 2nd biggest upset victory of 2021 in Canadian MMA. And at number 1, Machado against Neal Anderson at Unified 40. The dream scenario was all written down for Neal Anderson, who on the heels of a 6-fight winning streak dropped down to the featherweight division to try and claim the vacant featherweight title and solidify his claim to the UFC. The only thing he had to do was to defeat Machado, who had not competed in MMA since September of 2018. The two fighters engaged in a back-and-forth contest where they both had their moments, but just as it seemed like Anderson was pulling away with the fight in round 4, Hammo was able to secure a body lock takedown that led to him taking Anderson's back and choking him out to win the Unified Featherweight Championship and score the biggest upset victory of 2021 in Canada. That concludes my list. Tell me who I missed in the comments. Leave a like if you liked and make sure to subscribe to MMA Talk for more Canadian MMA content. See you next time.